please welcome Steffen Kottkamp and Juan de Dios Larraín. Sorry, I'm never very good with this. Please come and join us here.
Thank you, Hugo. Welcome, guys. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for being here. I'm very excited about this panel because I think it's covering what is arguably one of the most hot-button topics at the moment, which is the kind of ailing distribution business. And I think we were talking before. I mean, I don't know anyone else who might have been in Cannes this year, but I tend to use Cannes as a market, as a good temperature check for where the health of distribution is. And this year it was pretty slow. And last year it was pretty slow. Deals are getting made further and further down the line. Buyers are being much more cautious. MGs are getting smaller. And so there's this bottleneck of distribution. We've got an influx of content. There's loads of films being produced all the time. And not all of them, many of them are not finding homes, unfortunately. So my two panelists today have both decided to take matters into their own hands, which I think is very admirable. So I think if it's okay with each of you, we'll start with you, Juan. Perhaps you can start by telling us a little bit about your company, Pijama, and how and why you set it up. What was the impetus for that? I think also we have a slide. There we go, right there.
Sure. Hello. Thank you very much, Hugo, and this great festival. It's my first time here. I hope the first of many. And I would love to come with Pijama with a movie. I'm a producer. I've been producer for the last 25 years. I was born in Chile, and with Paula Larraín, we founded a company named Fábula. And we have offices in Santiago de Chile, in Mexico, Los Angeles, Argentina, and Spain. So before we get into Pijama, I would like to know how many producers do we have in the room? Can you raise your hand if you're a producer? All right. Hello, colleagues. So, you know, there are like 6,000 movies being produced every year. And we as producers really need to understand what our next project is going to be. And, you know, when we do a lot of TV, and when you do TV, the first question that comes with the idea that you pitch is, who's the audience? When you do movies, the question of the audience, for us as producers, for many years, has been something not really clear, not very important, let's say. I have never asked Paula Larraín, my brother, or Sebastián Lelio, who's the audience of your next film? He would say, I don't know, people that like my films. Which of course, that it's an audience, but where we're living today forces us as producers to make good movies that have an audience. If not, there can be hundreds of Pijama ideas, but your film will never be seen. That said, Pijama was born because we as a producer were suffering a very simple problem, which was that we would sell our films in many territories, but sometimes there were key territories left. And a specific case, the movie The Wave, La Ola, by Sebastián Lelio, went to Cannes, sold a lot of countries, but not the UK. And Sebastián has made two interesting and popular and commercial films in the UK. So we were like, what's going on? There's something wrong here. So we tried to find, with Film Nation, a distributor that would do a distribution deal. Like, we didn't want any MG, just like to give access to the film. So we didn't find any. And that's the moment when Pijama was born in our minds. because I think that it's insane that in the days we're living, there isn't one platform that allows you as a producer to directly upload a film, not with a third party, directly, that can you choose the territories, you set a price, and on the other side you will have somebody that can rent that film for $4. And the producer gets 80% of the revenue. It's what you're reading up there. That is Pijama. It's very simple, and I hope that there are many Pijamas, and Steffen will tell us about his project that is a cousin of Pijama, or a brother, sister, brothers and sisters. But it's that. Pijama is about giving access to producers that would like to find an audience in one or more territories. And with this I finished. The fact that your movie don't find distribution doesn't mean that it doesn't have an audience. Every movie have an audience. Maybe it's 10 people, maybe it's your family, schoolmates, some friends, 100, maybe it's 1,000, maybe 10,000. But if you don't have a way to connect your movie with that 100, 10,000, or whatever the number is, how can you monetize your work? So that is the reason of Pijama to born.
Mm-hmm. Great. Steffen, your business is a little different. Can you tell us how and why you set that up, and maybe explain Directors Collective to us, which is, I believe, launching officially later this year, correct?
Right. So we come from the same origin, so the Directors Collection, and maybe you could change the slide.
Oh, yes, please. Sorry, could we get the new slide?
Just to give a little overview what this is. So Juan was just talking about a TVOD initiative, Pijama, and by the way, I love Pijama because this is the way how films, if not in cinemas, should be shown without any kind of interruption. Because what we do, and the Directors Collection is born by German producers, the Weydemann Bros, which made movies like System Crasher and things like this, and we identified the exactly same issues. So once movie goes on the festival circuit, and later it will be released with some theatrical releases, and maybe afterwards Netflix comes with a good offer. But after 2 years or 3 years, many of these movies, super duper movies, are what the sales say, are on the shelf. They are not seen at all, and they are not monetized at all. And that's the gap we are hopping in, and we do this via AVOD. AVOD means advertised video on demand, which means the main AVOD platform everyone knows, and this is YouTube. YouTube is a little bit a kind of an enemy to the industry that's sitting here, because no one wants his or her movie to be seen interrupted by commercials on YouTube. But on the other hand, we have to admit that even the big streamers have their ad tiers now, and our thinking was just, okay, if we create a new platform, how should anyone get aware of that platform where we show movies? So we thought, okay, let's give it a try and let's jump into the ocean. So YouTube is an ocean, and how to find jewels in an ocean, this is the target, the aim that we have. So Directors Collection is a niche on YouTube, a YouTube channel. It's a bit more than a channel, but it's easy enough to understand. It is a channel that is extremely focused on festival, art house, and independent movies. If you have a look at YouTube, there are a lot of long forms out there already. We are quite late to the party because independent art house and festival movies, their natural home isn't YouTube. But if you go for what YouTube calls a niche, and be very precise in that niche and start to, and that's the magic we want to introduce here, to curate this. So really find a home for these special movies where easy to achieve, creating a little bit of a revenue, creating a kind of a go-to place, creating a kind of a community. And this is the one column of our business model, because literally all of the movies we have collected so far, around 500 now, and it's daily we get more non-exclusive licenses for the director's collection. Many of these movies are not seen at all. The only way how to see these movies that days ago won festival prizes are on piracy. So I think this is to explain a little bit the reason why and how we go on YouTube. But there's the second column, and I will be fast, not talking too much. That's fast. Once we have the movies on YouTube, we are not only creating some revenues, we are also creating some data, which, by the way, we will share totally with all the license, all the rights holders will get the exact and precise data how their movies perform. But what we know in an aggregated way is, okay, which movies perform the best, or which movies do perform in different countries, how. And with this data, we can create fast channels, free ad-supported television, linear channels on the internet, which create a bit more revenue. I don't want to talk only about money, but I think it's important if you create such kind of a business model, you need to know where the money comes from. And so AVOD first, fast second. This is in a nutshell what we are doing with the director's collection.
Mm-hmm. Both two very different models with kind of the same goal in the end, to connect films that are not being distributed with audiences. How, maybe Juan, you can tell us a little bit about your model, because you're putting it in the hands of the artists and the producers and giving them lots of control. How specifically, how does that model work, and why did you decide to go down that route? What are the kind of advantages and also limitations for that model?
Well, one of the enemies that we're facing with the producers and sales agents is that, 80% of the movies that are made don't find distribution. That's the range. Theoretically or after in platforms. The 80% of those films that didn't find distribution assumes that, and then start touring in festivals. And then I hope that the gallery very friends don't go against me, but if you're a producer and you do the festival tour for 1 year, when that is finished, it's very hard that your movie will find an audience because it's too late. So every movie has a momentum, and it's something that we are learning how to do. And we'll share, of course, with all producers our learnings. That said, we're also learning how to promote films. So we're now, after the World Cup finish in 2 weeks, we're promoting 22 movies in 22 different cities. Wow. To understand how it converts, at what time, how should it last the advertising, how to target the audience, radius of people that finish the film and all that. Mm-hmm. The next step is that we are acquiring 3 big films that didn't find distribution with great talent. Mm-hmm. And we'll do a campaign like more massive with this talent. Mm-hmm. I think it's a mix of everything. you know, we need to understand and make a better interface that will be even more friendly to producers. But that said, Pijama is a public square where producers can advertise their movies and connect with their audiences. And you can advertise inside Pijama, so you can buy advertising from the platform, or you can do it on your own. The good thing of doing it from the platform is that you use the Pijama audience, which is a building of audiences across all the films of film lovers. And yeah, it's learning and learning and learning how to be effective. We don't want to be. We can change, but we don't want to be a movie or that I respect a lot. But this kind of platform that you start scrolling down, and it's like movies from Cannes, movies from Best Black and White, like the idea of curation. I think Pijama is like search off, movies on. We want to offer, we want to work with three metrics. One, the most seen. Second, the best ranked, country by country. And then we have one selection, but it will be 5 to 10 films the most. And then we have, of course, social networks followers, and we have an email. And with that, we will create a conversation and build a community, and will help producers with our learnings on the promotion and the building of our community throughout social networks and our emails. We put all that in front and in favor of the movie, so they can have a stronger performance while they live in the app, in the platform.
How does it work in terms of rights, though, of those films? You know, when a producer puts a film through your service and sells in, I don't know, let's say in the Czech Republic, Czechia, how does rights retention work then? If that, let's say, down the line, someone else wants to make a buy for that film in the territory, how does, like, what's the how does that work?
Now it's a manual process.
Okay.
That you cross metadata with the images, with AI. YouTube used to do it manually, humans. Now it's AI. Of course, if you see Batman, then something's going wrong. We have gotten some porn films that we're not allowed in for now. And then there's a question about AI-generated movies that we also need to understand how to deal with that. I have more questions than answers. But yeah, it's a process done in good faith. And we have a very efficient system that in the moment that somebody thinks that the copyright of a movie is in breach of a territory, or you just click and it gets frozen until in the next 24 hours we see the paperwork from whoever uploaded the film.
Okay. Stefan, can you tell us a little bit about your model and the types of films that you'll be working with as well?
So rights management for what we are planning is quite easy. First of all, our contract works a little bit like a mobile phone contract. So if you want to carve out one of your movies as a rights holder, it's possible immediately, because when we had our first market approach, it was in February at Berlinale, and we came with a huge poster saying, "We come in peace. We don't want to harm any kind of business, so we are here to create additional opportunities, or maybe even additional revenues." When it comes to rights, we only have non-exclusive rights. So for example, Director's Collection and Pijama can coexist perfectly together. So this is one thing. The other thing is we can geo-block for different countries. So if your movie has a running contract somewhere in the world, of course we won't show it on a free AVOD platform, of course not. So this is also an easy thing, and I think these are the two most important things, that you can take out a movie immediately if you need it, because someone comes around and says, hey, I want to give you a real licensing contract. I pay a minimum guarantee, or I pay a high license fee or something, because our model is based on revenue share. When we earn something, we share it 50-50, and you get half of everything of our income.
Okay, great. I want to ask a little bit about festivals, seeing as we are here at a festival, and often you both are working with films that have had a lot of them have had festival runs. What do you think that festivals could be doing to help propel beyond, outside of the what could they be doing to help boost the life and help you guys engage with audiences? Is there something you kind of feel festivals could do? Because everyone now is, you're producers that are diversifying into distribution. We have a marketplace where everyone has to diversify their skills now. So what would you kind of call on festivals to do, if anything, to help with this problem?
I can start as well, because it's hard anyway. Yeah, so I think there is no one unique solid answer what festivals could do. It's the usual suspects. So to make people outside there aware that these kind of movies exist, that there are independent movies that that have a real audience. But other than that, there's nothing what could be done by the festivals itself currently. And I'm the wrong person to be asked that question, because we come far after the festivals with our opportunity. We just want to take care that these movies that once had a great career in a festival do not disappear at all.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very good question. Yeah, I'm not the right person to answer it, but I know that the people behind Sundance are very worried of what's going on, because the movies that go to Sundance are getting less and less distribution opportunities. Mm-hmm. So they feel responsible that they put movies from a moment up in the air and create a great momentum, and then those movies get vanished. Mm. Is Sundance responsible of the future of the films that they bring to life? I don't know. Can they do better? Yes. How? I don't know again. Mm-hmm. But probably, if there's a way to understand the question, I would say that the answer is that at some point Sundance will need to be, as everybody is here, a distribution, platform, a distribution.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I'm curious as well, because you both these are great business models, and it's very interesting what both of these businesses are doing, and they are in their infancy. I mean, Pijama launched earlier this year in Sundance, and then at the end of this year, we'll see Directors Collective launch. I'm curious, what, if any, have there been any conversations with more traditional distributors about these businesses? Like, what are their reactions to what you guys are building? What are some of the, reactions sales agents have had? I'd love to kind of get, glean impressions that people have given you, or kind of what their thoughts are on these businesses you're setting up.
So talking to sales and to distributors, this is my daily business now. And the reaction is more or less almost the same. First of all, do you know how many guys have been here already and want to have our movies? So that's what I said. From an AVOD perspective, we are late to the party. The only thing that makes them open their eyes and start to react and to listen is, you want to concentrate on festival, art house, and independent movies. This is the thing that is kind of new, and that curation idea behind it, because everything else is something where we are nice to have as the director's collection. We are not the main focus, because the main focus for sales and distributors is to distribute their movies the way they did it all the past years. And they are not that much interested in a new idea that does not create millions of revenues, and that is interrupted by commercials and things like this. So many of the distributors have to talk to their producers first and to the directors, and I can understand this. The same would happen to our movies as well. But we need to know, and we need to create a new kind of community. We didn't invent that kind of world where these platforms exist and where the movie market suffers in the way it does. But I think it's a creative approach and a strong approach to say, okay, come on, let these movies do not disappear. If these movies want to find an audience, they have to start somewhere. And there is a platform, and this is the argument and back and forth, and these are the reactions. First reaction is always, okay, I'm willing to listen, but I guess I'm not interested. And in the end, many of them are. 2/3 of the companies we are talking to, in the end, at least give us 10, 20, 30 of their movies to try out what we promise.
Interesting. What about you, Juan? What's the reactions you've had?
Well, we're a very young company. We launched in Sundance this year, end of January. Out of the 7 apps, we're working in 4. Hopefully in the next 2-3 weeks we'll be across all devices. It's complicated always because sales agent that we made 10 agreements with 10 European sales agents that we're very grateful. The first question is that, do you have users? And we say, well, no, because we don't have the movies. So it's like the egg of the chicken. Yeah. It's something that you slowly need to develop, and we're now getting more traction and more traction. We need to understand how to work with our community, but it takes some time, but we'll get there, and I'm sure that Pijama will be very massive. I don't know, in 6 months, in 1 year, 2 years. And we were born in Chile, so for us doing movies has been difficult since we're kids. So we're ready to run marathons, and this will of course be the case.
I wanted to ask a little bit as well about metrics, because you've both mentioned it a little bit, but these are businesses. You're building up businesses. But what is important for you now? It sounds like getting audiences for these films is hugely important. Obviously, that's why you're doing it. But what's the most important? Is it audience size? Is it getting into as many territories as possible? Or is it revenue? Like how are you kind of looking at this business and these businesses? What's the big driver?
For us, all metrics are valuable. We share all the metrics with the producers. But for me, the most important metric is the one that makes you understand how to bring more people to the movies. At what time do you need to advertise? What the message should be, for how long, and then how to convert, which apps, how can you put a credit card and then you have one click, how to make the users' lives easier. and how to learn to create an environment full of a community that feels fine in Pijama, renting as much as possible movies.
Steffen, what about you?
We are still in research for the right metrics,
Okay.
because we have to. That's what I said. YouTube, where we start with, is an ocean. So we have the most reach at all, but this does not mean that our offer, that the movies really reach the audience. They have to find it as well. So it's a mixture out of everything possible. One thing is we spend money on real marketing. This is one thing, and it is important. Second thing is working with the algorithm. So publishing and depublishing movies to make them bubble up, creating a good and feasible playlists for different topics coming from society, from festivals, from interesting topics, because festival, art house and independent movie, this is not a genre. We are not offering Western or only drama, or we have even more than feature films. We have documentaries in our offering as well. So we need to find out a little bit more what brings people to festivals like this. Because our first idea was, if you go out in Berlin, where we are based, on the street and ask someone, doing just a little interview, do you love festival, art house or independent movies? I think we need to meet 100 people before we find one who says, oh yes, I guess yes. So this is it's a small niche. But if you go today in KVIFF out on the street and ask the same question, almost everyone would say yes. It shows there is an audience, but you need to concentrate, focus, and find them. And that's what we try to do with these different methods. And when it comes to the real data, YouTube offers, again, only talking about YouTube now, YouTube offers a lot of data, so we know where the people come from, who watch the movies, how long do they watch them. We know a little bit about their gender, and this kind of data we get, as already said, we share this data, of course, and it gives us a little bit of insights. Okay, are we on the right track in creating a kind of an independent YouTube movie community on our director's channel or not? So this is, by the way, something YouTube tells us as well. We had a panel last week in Munich where YouTube was on board because they are kind of supporting that idea. They love the idea of having cultural long-form movies on their platform as well. And the real metrics in the end, we have to find out by doing it.
Okay, well, thank you guys. We have some time left for questions, if anyone has any. If not, I have more questions I can ask them. But does anyone? Yes. This gentleman right here. Do we have a mic? Oh, sorry. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Martin Timer, attorney from Bird & Bird. I have a question mainly for Steffen. I mean, you mentioned when we had the whole rights management discussion over here that the rights holders in your platform have the option of a kind of carve-out of their movies, right? Which, from what I understood, is that when perhaps they get an offer for some well-paid license in a particular territory, they can carve out their movies as a kind of on-off button, if I understand this correctly. But maybe as a broader question from that, how, if this is how I understand it, how much flexibility do you want to give your rights holders in managing their movies during the duration of the licenses, and on the other hand, how much maybe certainty you want to have in your catalog that you can have them in those territories on a long-term basis?
Sorry, I need your mic. So, if you work together with YouTube, for this example, where I was talking about you are part of a kind of a CMS, to explain this a little bit technically. So, and this is on a film-by-film basis. So even if we acquire or license packages, every movie is a single data slot, and we can put it from our side, we can put it on or off instantly. This opportunity to carve out a movie from the whole package is made for the special circumstance that someone gives us the non-exclusive license for, I don't know what, let's say for Brazil, yeah, and then they find a real opportunity to sell a real license to someone in Brazil. They need this right back, and they don't want to offer it as a non-exclusive offer to us. Normally, these contracts have a period. So our contract does not have a period. It's an open contract. So if you say, hey, I have to take this movie back, sorry, then we take it out from our offer, because that's what I said. We come in peace, and we don't want to harm any kind of business. I hope I got your question right.
I think so. I mean, from that I understand that the rights holders have essentially a lot of flexibility during the contract to say, okay, we need this right now, we have the off button option.
Right. So this is not a button you can push. As a rights holder, you have to inform us, and we take it out, because there's a technical process behind it. But in principle, yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Any more questions in the audience? No? Okay. I have one. Oh, no, sorry. I'm so sorry. This lady at the front here. Thank you.
Thank you. Hi. Oh, God, I don't have a voice. Quick question to both of you. Steffen, I understood that you curate, so there's a selection of films that you accept, Pijama doesn't? Or are you also like selecting the films that you're working with? So, because not everybody can get in your platform. On your platform, everybody can basically subscribe to film. And if yes, how do you deal with the masses of films that you might have there at one point?
I think the question is, you curate, you have a very specific curation for your platform, but with Pijama, how does that work when you have, if anyone can kind of join it and for a fee, how do you curate that and deal with the kind of influx of projects you may have? Is that correct? Did I get that right?
Yeah, no, we don't curate. What we do is, what we'll be doing soon is that you will see territory by territory the best ranked film by the audience that watch all films and rank it, like we start from 0 to 10. The most seen, which is an objective metric. And then we, as a Pijama, we have two things. One is the carousel, that when you join the landing page, you see movies. That is something that we control. And also we have the Pijama Select, so recommendations from us. So other movies that will join, the only way to find them is to go to the searcher and write the name of the film, of the producer, of the director, of the actor, actress, VFX, makeup, because we have a searcher that will cover all head of departments. If you don't know any of them, there's no way that you will see that film. So we don't curate, but also we don't expose to the public movies that are not in the best ranked films, not in the most seen, not in our selection of recommendation.
So that means your concept is actually very open, which is nice, because it's then really inviting everybody to just submit his or her film to your platform. Whereas I think curation makes it more complicated, because you put people again in a competitive situation. How do you handle that, Steffen?
Yeah, so talking about curation, when you have 500,000, 1,500 movies, is a hard and complex thing. So it works a little bit like this. This is part of the magic sauce of the director's collection. So the first step we do, and this is the most important step, is when we get a movie, we create a lot of metadata. So which means we, how can I explain this? We tag the movies. We know exactly what it is about. We can't even watch every movie. So this is something I have to be absolutely honest, because it would be crazy to watch 1,000 movies, so time is not enough for that. But we are talking about movies that have an history. So there's a lot of press releases. They had a festival circuit. They are well known to the audience. It's not the first time these movies will be seen. We just secure them from disappearing. So that gives us a lot of data, and that is where modern technology, including AI, comes into play. So when we find all these metadata about movies from existing things, the material we get, the press releases that have been out there, and so on and so on. And that gives us the opportunity not to curate each individual single film, but to create topics. Yeah, so I don't know if this is the best of all examples, but currently we are not launched. We launch by end of the year, but we do a kind of a phantom editorial session every week just to find out, okay, how virtuous are we with these curation things? And we had this this awful Iran crisis and war. So we have a lot of movies from Iran, for example. But what was the discussion, especially in the Western world? It was all about the gasoline price. So we thought, okay, in such moments, we not only offer our Iran movies or the exceptional US anti-war movies that we might have in our catalog, we say, okay, everyone talks about gas stations, here are our road movies. Yeah, so just finding a different angle for every perspective, for everything that is in discussion out there. And this is the way of curation, what we want to do. And just one more thing, curation on an AVOD platform doesn't mean that you have super highlights all the time. It exists simultaneously. The main curation work on an AVOD platform works via playlists. So once you are interested in a special topic, you can have a look, okay, did they take care of that special interest or special topic? And do they deliver a playlist where you can choose from and watch the movies you want to move? I hope this is a kind of an answer.
Thanks to both of you.
Sadly, we are out of time, but thank you both very much for such an interesting discussion. Thank you.